My name's Argy, and today we're continuing with our And You'll Never Guess What Happened series, where we attempt different fun and silly challenges, and track how they go. In the last episode, we played 20 games on the NA West servers, which was a lot of fun. But in today's video, we'll be heading back to the European servers, and seeing if I can manage to get a win. Except this time, the only weapon I'll be using is a grey pump. And yes, I really do mean just a grey pump. I know, I'm insane. So, let's jump straight into it. So heading into the first game, I decide to drop at Slurpy Swamp, as it's a great place to get shield, and there's plenty of floor loot, meaning I'd hopefully be able to find a grey pump pretty quickly. After looting up, I eventually come across my first opponent of the game. I want to keep high ground over her, but I get bored quickly, so decide to jump down, which probably wasn't the smartest decision.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
My aim might be a little off, but eventually I'm able to get the kill.
You suck.
My strategy for these 20 games was to find a pump as quickly as I could and then fill the rest of my inventory with as many heals as possible. With fish being the most effective form of healing this season, I spent most of these games fishing, with Slurpy Swamp being a great place to get as many slurp fish as you need. Although sometimes I'd get weapons that I wasn't allowed to use. Shortly after, I'm farming a tree for wood, when out of nowhere, I get attacked. I'm not sure what this player's deal is, but it was annoying as hell.
What the fuck is going on here? What am I seeing? What the fuck?
That was one of the weirdest fights I've ever had. That player was an absolute lunatic. Later that game, I've almost reached the top 10 when I hear a player nearby. At this point, I need to make it to the circle, but I can hear a player right next to me, so I need to play this smartly. When you've only got a grey pump, it's important that you're able to hit your shots, but in this encounter, I miss way too many, which puts me in a really tricky position.
Oh my god.
And what makes things worse is that I start getting shot at from the side. I'm eventually able to defeat my opponent, but I get pushed almost instantly after.
Oh, what the fuck?
And with me still getting shot at from the side, I'm not able to withstand the pressure.
No!
The next game, I see some players fighting nearby, and I really want to get involved. But with me only having this crappy weapon, I don't feel confident enough to jump into the action.
Nope.
Eventually, there are only 2 other players left when I get pushed by a sweat. I manage to avoid his attempts to trap me, but I keep missing my shot, and I end up getting punished for it.
Oh.
The game after, I don't see anyone until there are only 15 other players left. I initially do well in this fight, but it quickly goes horribly wrong.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh my god. Oh, what the f...
10 HP by the way. Game 4, and I'm looting just south of Slurpy Swamp. I've got a decent amount of shield and materials, but I'm yet to find a pump. And before I know it, I'm being pushed.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, piss off, man.
With this being a grey pump only challenge, I didn't want to use any other weapons. And even though the harpoon technically isn't a weapon, I really didn't want to use it. However, in this situation, I was forced to. To my surprise, my first shot hits, but I lose my position on the high ground. However, somehow, I just about managed to win the fight. Later on, I'm healing up in the Slurpy water, when a player appears out of nowhere. I hit her with a couple clean shots, but the SMG spray gets me incredibly weak.
Oh, fucking hell.
With that player getting me so weak, I spend the next few minutes trying to heal up. However, whilst in the back of a lorry, I suddenly get sniped.
Oh, fuck off.
And I get stuck in a really awkward position.
Oh my fucking god.
Game 5, and I've landed towards the southeast of the map. I expected to be alone, but to my surprise, I've got company. I hit them with a clean shot, but I accidentally tried to switch to an SMG. But obviously, I don't have one. I pumped them to the head, but I'm not impressed with the 28 damage.
Really?
And I quickly run out of materials. I might be out of mats, but this player is so weak that I decide to chase them. But now, suddenly I'm weak, and thinking that I'm completely out of shotgun shells, I'm forced to go for the pickaxe finish. One of the more frustrating aspects of this season has been the lack of mobility. So if you land right at the edge of the map, you'll often have a tough time trying to make it to the circle. And this was certainly evident in this game, as the circle ended up being at the completely opposite side of the map. I might have made it to the final 5 players, but I'm still miles away from the circle, and I don't have any more heals, so it's not looking good. Yes, that'll give me a chance, but I could really do with some more.
Yes! Oh my god.
Wow, what luck. But would this be enough to get me to the circle? I guess not.
Fuck's sake.
Game 6, I spend almost all of the game looking for a grey pump. I'm able to reach the latter stages of the match, even without a weapon, until eventually I get shot at.
Oh, piss off. Oh.
This player won't leave me alone though, so suddenly I find myself in a build battle. But what am I supposed to do when I don't have a weapon? A third party ends up getting involved, which gives me the perfect opportunity to get away. Eventually though, he does manage to find me.
Leave me alone, you fuck.
I do my best to prolong the inevitable, but there's only so much you can do without any weapons or materials. The next game definitely goes better, as I at least get a weapon. My first encounter with a player comes at risky.
Oh, come on.
It's not easy playing without a spray weapon, but I still managed to get the job done.
Bitch.
It ends up being me and 2 other players left, but I get stuck in an awkward position between both of them.
No, what the fuck? No. Oh.
Game 8 starts off pretty well, as I'm able to get a pump early on, but despite doing this challenge for a video, it's still really hard to turn down good loot.
Oh, come on.
Later on, I hear the sound of gunfire in Holly Hedges, so I decide to get involved in the action. It ends up being a fun little fight, even though the first kill gets stolen from me.
Oh, come on.
I'm not that bothered though, as I end up getting my revenge against this Omega.
Yeah. You suck.
I make it to the final 4 players, and we're all in a bit of a standoff. At this point, I really wish I had a sniper. That was a little optimistic. 2 players go down, leaving me against the final player, and I've got the high ground, which is all well and good, but this pump isn't going to help me when I'm so far up. I end up dropping down and going more aggressive, which in hindsight wasn't a smart idea, especially when this player has an epic tack. And not for the first time in this video, I run out of materials, with my decision to jump down from the high ground proving to be a fatal error.
Oh my god.
And in game 9, I can't even get a single kill.
Oh, come on.
Game 10 actually ends up being one of my better matches, as I feel myself starting to get used to playing with just a grey pump. You can't play as aggressively as normal, instead you have to play it more tactically, or sneaky, which is exactly what I do here.
Oh, fucking hell.
I'm able to get a couple fairly easy kills on 2 weakened opponents, until once again I make it to the final few players. I get into a build fight with one of them, but I get caught in this player's box, which is never going to end well.
Oh, come on.
As I'm sure you can tell by my voice, I was starting to feel a little bit frustrated. Game 11 sees me landing back at Slurpy Swamp. I land dangerously close to an opponent who's just picked up a blue pump. Suddenly, this player is chasing me around the factories as I desperately search for a grey pump. I managed to find one, but at this point, I'm incredibly weak and death is looking imminent.
You know! Yes! Ah!
At this point, I'm actually starting to back myself with this crappy shotgun. I'm feeling confident, so I decide to push a Peely skin.
What the f... Oh,
I hate dying like that. There really wasn't a lot I could have done to prevent that third party from melting me.
oh.
And the next couple games are just as frustrating.
Oh, you're actually kidding me.
Really? Quickscoped? I can't catch a break. I'm pretty sure the Fortnite gods had seen I was struggling, so they decided to throw a few bots in my direction. I'm not sure if this first guy was a bot. He definitely wasn't good, but he was probably a real player. But the next two players, I'm 100% sure that they weren't actual players. It was nice to get a few early kills, but I'm quickly reminded just how difficult it is to deal with someone when they've got attack right in your face.
Oh my...
These last few games were ones to forget, but these final stretch of games are when things start to get a little bit crazy. Having only just found out that you can fish for grey weapons, I decide to adopt this method in hope of acquiring a grey pump. But before I can find one, I'm rudely interrupted. Without a weapon, I'm not sure what to do, until eventually I decide to go full kamikaze and jump in the player's face. My quest to find a grey pump continues as I desperately search around the map for one, but at this point, I'm pretty sure Epic were just trying to tease me. Eventually, there are 16 players left, but who needs a weapon? I've got a rusty can.
Oh, fuck.
Time to put it into good use.
No!
Well, I wasted that, which leaves me with only one option left.
It's my fucking trap!
That was way too close for comfort, but I'm glad that I managed to survive it. Whilst heading to the circle, I see a guy trying to snipe, but I really want to avoid him if I can.
Oh, fucking hell! Oh.
So once again, I'm in another fight without a weapon. I can't survive another fight, surely.
Oh my fucking god.
Well, that's my plan screwed. Okay, maybe not. But my joy is somewhat short-lived, as I quickly get pushed by another player. I might not have a weapon I can use, but I'm glad that I've still got plenty of materials.
Oh, leave me alone, you fuck.
But it seems that I've used up all of my luck for this game.
Oh.
Game 16, and surprise surprise, I can't find a grey pump, and I'm being pushed. I do manage to find a weapon eventually, but my first real fight of the game is being rudely interrupted.
Oh, piss off. Oh, you're fucking annoying.
That guy might not be helping things, but I still managed to destroy this player with a nice trap play and a lovely little flick.
Oh, piss off. You're annoying.
That guy would not die. Later that game, whilst heading to the circle, I hear a player underneath me. I hit him fairly cleanly, but not being able to swap to an SMG made this fight last a lot longer than it should have. This leaves me 1v1 against the final player. So at this point, I thought that this was my final game. I thought this was game 20, which made these final few moments even more intense, and let's just say, interesting. My final opponent will almost definitely have better loot than me, but I know that I can probably outplay them, so I decide to push aggressively towards the high ground. At this point, I'm feeling super confident and it's looking good. Until...
Oh my fucking God.
I was so mad at this point. I thought this was my big moment. My chance to close the games out with a win. It's just a shame that I'm a complete bot. Oh well, 4 games left now to make amends for that calamity. Game 17, I decide to land near Frenzy when I come across what I'm pretty sure is just an old-fashioned bot. But it seems like my pump is doing me dirty, as my kill gets stolen.
What the fuck?
There's not a chance that she's getting away with it that easily though, but whether I got 1 kill or 2, it doesn't really matter, as I end up dying not long later anyway.
Oh my God.
Game 18 sees me landing at retail, and on this occasion, another player lands on the same house as me, but I can't find a grey pump. But it seems like this player also doesn't have a weapon, so we end up having a pickaxe fight. Later that game, I hear the sound of people fighting at Lazy Lake, so seeing as I'm only on 1 kill, I decide to jump into the action. I just about managed to survive the trap, but there are more players coming for me. That was hilarious, but he wasn't the only player to arrive.
What am I seeing?
The final few players take each other out until it ends up being me against the final player. Yet again, the final player begins to spam me with rockets, but they're easy enough to deal with. This guy doesn't seem too good, but I don't want to play it too aggressively, so I make sure that I wait until the right moment before I edit my way down.
Put my trap. Oh, you do. Fucking hell. Oh my God.
I might not sound too enthusiastic, but trust me, to have finally gotten a win using only a grey pump, I'm feeling absolutely buzzing. Get in. The next game, I get into more early fights, which I just about managed to come out of alive. But unfortunately for me, I end up picking a fight with the wrong player. Game 20 doesn't really get going until right at the end, as I get into my first fight of the game when there are only 5 players left. This player seems decent, but I get a clean shot on him early on, and when he edits out of his box, I hit him with a lovely little flick. I'm finally left 1v1 when I hear my opponent jump down, so I'm not sure if I should try to fight him or not. But with me having so many heals, this is the perfect chance to get my first heal off win in a long time. I've committed to it now, there's no going back, so can I do it? Can I finish the 20 games on a win? And the answer to that is yes. Amazing. Only a 1 kill win, but when you're running around with only a grey pump, you've got to take any win you can get. So there we have our 20 games. That's without doubt one of the hardest challenges I've ever attempted, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it. But to have come out with 2 wins, I'm feeling pretty happy. So, how do you think I did? And do you think that there's actually a worse weapon in the game than the grey pump? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you want to support me as a content creator, then feel free to use my creator code, which is on the screen now. So anytime you buy something in the item shop and use my code, it will go directly towards supporting the channel, which will be greatly appreciated. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.